Okay, folks, welcome back. So here we are working on our Gangsta truck. Gangsta is an allowed term. It's interesting what terminology something like Chat GPT and things like that will allow you to use and what it will not allow you to use. Oh, good. The wheels are stuck in place. Excellent. It's a little shaky. See, let's get this little fan connected. A little fan action. There we go. One speed. It's either on or it's not on. Yeah, so I guess I did this offline. I guess I didn't do this on the show. Working on this little guy. But we put the armor plates, we painted them, I would still want to call it 10 bits, whatever the hell it's called. What color is that? Rough iron, okay? And then we added some metal to it, and then we painted it over with black, and so it looks like they painted it with black, but they didn't prime it properly, so we still have some of that iron that comes through. And I guess we got some wheels to. Should paint the wheels, and we're not going to go gold. There's nothing gold on it. I'm not opposed to doing gold colored rims, but you'd have something else gold on there. So we're going to do silver, and we're going to do rather bright silver. And then we'll get to weathering this thing, and we should be good to go with bulletproof. What do we call this thing? Bulletproof verse? I don't know if that name's gonna stay, but that's what we're calling it for now. It's definitely armored. It's an armored truck with a thumper. The thumper. The thumper ought to be great for some laughs. I read the rules on the thumper, and I'm like, yeah, we gotta have the thumper. What's up, Justin? Yo, Tony. What's up, man? Master DJ Master T, MCT. So yeah, I was looking at ideas on Chat GPT for this thing, and it's amazing. It amazes me what terms it will search for and what terms it will not search for. Like it did not like the fact that I said I wanted a team that was a bunch of thugs. It did not like thug as a term, but I could use gangsta, and it's okay. And I'm like, aren't they interchangeable? I mean, I think they're interchangeable. Is there a gangsta that isn't a thug? Maybe. I put them in the same category, though. Maybe there's some gangstas that aren't. I don't know. I don't listen to any of that kind of music, so I don't know. But to me, they're interchangeable. So, we're here to make fun of everything and everyone. I got my rednecks. My rednecks are a bunch of ignorant bastards. Why? I want to make fun of ignorant bastards. So they have Confederate flags with the colors switched, so we don't have automatic. Because there's stuff that you put online here that, I can explain everything I want. I could literally do a show if I wanted to about everything bad about Hitler and the Nazi Party, and then show a plane that Hitler was in my alternate universe crashing and burning, and I would be applauding it, but there'd be a swastika on the tail, and my channel would get banned because of that. Even though I was describing in detail how there's nothing good about Hitler, right? Because there's automatic censors and things like that, right? Looking at T55 Model X. I like the way T55s look. And T62s for that matter. So, you could put things on here that are quote unquote controversial and explain them, and you still are going to run into issues with the bots that automatically like hit your channel. So it's like I'm doing redneck vehicles and they're going to have a Confederate flag on them and the colors are switched. And they're not exactly the same. They don't. I can't. I don't have. I don't have stars or whatever. That's what they would have. Right or wrong, rednecks would have Confederate flags all over their trucks. So we're not promoting any of that stuff. I'm not promoting having a bunch of baby mamas either. We're just going to go over this. Some big ass 32-inch rims. 32-inch wheels, sorry. Rims if they're spinners. Can we all agree spinners are stupid? Spinners are like one of the dumbest things I've seen people do to a car. They're spinning while the car is not moving, and when the car is moving, they're not spinning, which is even worse. And unbelievably, the bumper on the front and the back of this vintage Escalade is the color of the body. It's not stainless. Now, I'm gonna tell you that if I don't like how the way it looks, I'm gonna make an executive decision and change that, because it doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't look. It looks like it's got too much. Like it doesn't have enough detail on it. And iron breaker. We'll come in with the iron breaker and a smaller brush here. Silly things people do with their cars. Like those people that drive around where they have an Instagram tag for their car. Like, I want to check out your car. Like your car is that cool, People want everybody to follow them, and then when they can't be left alone, they're like, "I want my privacy." So I had a really interesting thing that happened to me yesterday, or the day before. It was actually the day before. My brother talked me into doing these. What is it called? Let me see exactly what it's called. It's Google Opinion Rewards, right? So Google will send you like this, did you go recently to this site? Did you go to this store? Which of these stores have you gone to recently? Burger King, Chick-fil-A, Walmart, Target, or, whatever. And it's places, I think, that it's kind of sensed that you're near, depending on where you actually traveled. So you're supposed to select the one where you've been at, and then it'll ask you questions on, did you pay by, car, did you buy anything there, that kind of stuff. And sometimes they vary. Sometimes they'll ask you, hey, which one of these pages looks better for search engines and things like that. Well, I've been doing that for about 6 months or whatever, and they supposedly pay you in credit towards you can use to buy apps, which I've never bought an app. And see no reason to buy any, because none of them provide anything that I would think that would be useful. But regardless, I got asked the other day if I had watched a certain video. And the video was one of my own videos. So it was one of these live sessions. that I watch it and I'm just like, I guess it didn't realize that I'm the same person or whatever. So, it asked me what I thought about it and everything. Of course, I gave myself glowing fucking reviews. But that was interesting that happened. I actually don't like the way that's looking with a brake pad standing out. So I'm gonna paint that in black. What happened, Justin? You fall in a hole? Why were you looking at T-55 tanks? I like T-55s. There's some modern Soviet equipment that I think looks all right. I think T-55s look good. T-60, modern meaning post-World War II. T-62s look good. BTR 152s look good. What I don't like is how BMP 1s look. They're ugly. They just look like something that just wouldn't work. BIMP 1s. I am going to go ahead and paint this stainless down here, or metal, just to make it stand out. Watch a video on them now. I need to build a small platoon. Yeah, they look pretty good. I remember when I was doing micro armor and I was doing modern micro armor, GHQ made a pack. I think their pack came with 54s and 55s. And I don't remember what the difference is. I think one has one gun. I think the 55 has like the 100. I think one has like a 100mm and the other one has a 115 or something like that. Or the road wheels are different or something like that. I had some for Arab-Israeli wars. The ones I really liked were the Super Shermans. The Super Shermans look awesome. The Super Shermans with the 105 look awesome. The ones with that French 75 with the, thank you, with the weird baffle looks weird. You ever see that movie called The Beast? I believe it's a T-55 that's in that movie. And basically, it's a movie that came out, I don't know if it came out in the late 80s or the early 90s. But it's basically a Russian tank in the invasion of Afghanistan gets lost. This is before 9/11, so the only people that were in Afghanistan were the Soviets. And it's a Soviet tank crew in their tank that gets, they're like basically surviving getting attacked by insurgents and things like that. Might be worth watching if you like the T-55s. What I really like post-war is those huge, heavy Soviet tanks. The JS-7s and the JS-4s and not even the JS-3s. The JS-3s, they made a fair number of them. But like the ones they didn't make very many of. The things that would go like head-to-head with like a M103. They're all failed designs. The rate of fire is like horrendously bad. T-55 AMV. You got the director's cut? Okay, so you've seen it. I've seen it once a long time ago. And all I remember, the part that was stupid is there's one point where they think they're getting attacked at night. If I get it wrong, look, I watched the movie one time and it was like 40 years ago. 40? No, but 35 years ago. And they're like attacked at night, and or they think they're being attacked at night, and they somehow rig a flamethrower to go through the barrel of the gun, and just do like a 360 and flame everything, and then they wake up in the morning, or they find out that it's just a bunch of deer, you know. T80? No, the Beast is either a T62 or a T55. It's actually, if I remember correctly, it's a T55. Well, it's an Israeli Ti-67. So it's basically a tank that the Israelis captured in this 1967 war, and re-engineered it for Israeli service, which I think means they put the 105 in it. I think that's what a Ti-67 is. Tank in the Beast. It is a T-55. Yep. It's a Soviet T-55 tank that's been modified by Israel into a Ti-67. This particular tank was a captured T-55, which was refitted by the Israelis with a Western 105 L7 gun. It's a good looking tank. Only thing I don't like about this tank is if you're using it for Arab-Israeli wars, is the Arabs, and actually the Israelis, same thing. But the Arabs, it's really more ironic because the Arabs don't use Arabic numbers. So their numbers are like this, you know, like this weird script squiggle, you know? Yeah, I think a T-55 is better looking than a T-62, but a T-6, because it's more balanced. A T-62 has a turret farther forward, it's low, and 88, by the way. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try my luck and try to weather it now. So we got chocolate brown, U.S. field drab, and good old Iraqi sand. Good old Iraqi sand. That's too nice of a brush. We need one that's got to be violated. That's been violated here. A brush that's been disrespected. See, these drizzles are a little too limp, Dick. Let's get a... T62A. There's a guy that was selling a bunch of T62As by Eshy on one of the model shows. I didn't pick any of them up. I think this is better. Would have gotten from my African imaginations, but I don't know that I'm going to really interested in pursuing that much, considering gasoline is kind of you know, it's taking me where I want with it, with something that's already, you know, done. I don't have to invent something. Well, what I would have wanted was an M41 Walker Bulldog for those guys, because the main nation is Western equipped in that. They're not running around in commie shit. Alright, let's get the middle tone. Yeah, there's some of those T62 paint schemes that look pretty good, especially like in the desert, and they've got like the squiggle camouflage over them. But I'm not a fan of those Arab-looking numbers with the, you know, it doesn't even look like a number. It's just some kind of letter or something like that. You know, the Russians had Cyrillic, but at least they still use the same numbers. You know, I like this vehicle, but I don't know if it's actually going to turn out great, and it's only because the graphics on it are pretty heavy. And it doesn't look like it's an easy way to I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I don't have enough coffee in me. Okay, and then with some Iraqi sand to finish it off. 255 AMV. What's an AMV? Oh, with all the reactive armor. See, I don't like the way this looks. I don't like the way the Soviet tanks look when they have the sides covering them. And really, you would only see that on a T-64. T-64s, way back in the day of the Cold War, T-64s were the elite tank that, even though they had 72s, and, you know, Soviet tanks go in order. So, you know, T-34 comes before a T-44, which comes before a T-54, which comes before a T-55, which comes before a T-62, which comes before a T-72, before a T-80, you know. So they squeezed a 64 in there somewhere. And a 64, I don't know exactly what the difference is. It's got different running gear than a 72, and it's got different running gear than a 62 as well. But it has the same armament as the T-72. So I've got a 125 millimeter gun, I believe. but it has the capability of firing, or it did have the capability of firing surface to surface missiles out of it. I forget which one it's called. Spigot. We'll just call it the Spigot. I don't remember which one it is, but there's a surface to surface missile that it can fire out through that barrel. And it wasn't a success. But back in the days of, the Fulda Gap and the Cold War and everything, the T-64s were held by the Soviets only. So, in other words, East Germany didn't get any. It's been decades since I've said that. East Germany didn't get any. Poland didn't get any. Only the Soviets themselves, the Russian Soviet Socialist Republic, got the T-64s. And I believe a fair amount of them are used by Ukraine, or were used by Ukraine now. Of course, the way I understand it is the missile didn't really work out. It was good in practice, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out. So they just used regular gun tanks. But I remember back in the days when you were building some kind of an army, the Army List for Combined Arms. I think that's what it was called. The only people that got the T-64 were the Soviets. Soviet units that might have been stationed in Poland, or Soviet units that were stationed in East Germany or something like that, Czechoslovakia, that sort of thing. It was only the Soviet Union units that got those. But that's what was unique about it. And I believe the T-80 at the time was supposed to fire something down or at least had the option of firing it down the barrel. You like the T-90s. I get the T-90s and the T-80s mixed up. I can tell pretty much all of them apart other than that. T-80 versus T-90. Images. Yeah, T-90's got a really small turret. I wonder if that means that the whole turret is automated. I don't like that new Armada. It looks stupid. And I don't like Chi-Com shit. I don't mind Soviet stuff, but I would never build a Chi-Com anything. Actually, I have a Chi-Con naval squadron. Okay, other than that, because that actually works for war games. But not that I've ever played with them. Yeah, I'm being thrown off. You don't like Asian military stuff either. Well, the biggest problem with Asian military stuff is their nomenclature. A Type 99. I can't put a face on a Type 99. I just can't. So this has a thumper, an additional armor, and through crew members that can shoot pistols. So the thumper is really an interesting weapon. Unfortunately, it only has one blast. Well, if it had multiple blasts, it might actually be too powerful. I'll read it in just a second and go take a little pee break, and I'll be right back. Yeah, we're drinking tea, so that makes me go to the bathroom. Like, I wear a diaper, but then I'd fill too many of them up. Let's take a look at this thing. It's so damn black, but then at the same time, it's not black. Because, like, I like the way, well, I'm not going to judge it until I'm done with it. The same way Schadenfreude looks, it's a black car, but I like the way it looks. This one just gets distracting by looking at these graphics that are awfully bright. So let's get Tony's tones out here. Start creating some magic. It's dark, so about the only color I'm going to be able to work on is probably mid-brown. Yeah, like Chinese fighter planes, like who gives a shit? Like, the hell, J, who knows what the hell they're called? J something or another. I don't care. Now, I actually was looking for a model, a really cheap one, of a Chinese fighter jet, so I could use the wing of it as a ramp. Like it's crashed. No plane I'd like to see better crash than a Chinese fighter jet. Strong mode mixed in with that. But I think I'm going to build some ramps. I think by next time we play, we're going to have some unique terrain built for them, some wrecks and other stuff to enhance the look of the arena, so to speak. Not that it looks bad, but it could look better. Okay. I think that's ready pretty much to be sprayed. Now, the problem that we're going to run into is that a couple of these vehicles, I'm definitely going to put Rams on them, and I don't have any Rams left. Oh, you know what I do have? And it's just too late to start working on it now. Actually, it's not. It just feels like it's really late. That's so ambulance. Ambulance has a harpoon on it in a turret. Where's the wheels for this thing? Still attached to the bottom. Yep. Still attached to the bottom. This is an old ambulance from the 70s, maybe? 77. It sits like that. Okay. Oh, okay, that holds it in place. Gotcha. Okay. In front of this. And you'll be able to see through it like that. Probably glue it right on the front. Oh, I know why I didn't finish it. I know why I didn't finish it, because I wanted to design this thing with explosive rams. I didn't have explosive rams on it. Okay, I can't finish it. I've got some explosive rams coming. That's basically what it is. It's mainly equipped with a harpoon. So basically the idea is it shoots the harpoon and it lassos things up, and if it's bigger than it, then it'll get pulled towards it. If it's the same size or smaller, it'll pull the other item to it. It'll end up hitting the ram and getting damaged on the ram. So that's why I didn't finish it. That's why I didn't finish it yet. Where's this nerd burglar? Nerd burglar truck. Yeah, this is going to end up having open top. I need more driver figures. I need more driver figures. I'm not willing to give up these guys. I need more driver figures. And I got a bunch of 3D stuff coming, but none of it is drivers. We'll spray that in the morning. This Chevelle, or is it a Nova? Looks awesome. It really does. It's almost like, you know, I didn't want to really break open any more cars until I knocked out these that I have. One box. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm really tired, so I'm probably going to just cut this one off.